I'm Ginny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here with Anne Pamfilis to talk about her article in the March-April issue of On Purpose Woman magazine. Thanks for being with me, Anne.
Thank you, Jenny, for having me. You know, it's my favorite thing to talk in public.
I know, yeah. She's being a little um, sarcastic there, though. But you do a great job when you do it. So, yeah. This is
Thank
a
you.
friendly zone. You know that. This is a
I do.
very friendly zone. So, Anne, I'm excited about your article and your topic because I just love what you wrote. But before we get into that, tell our viewers a little bit about you.
Well, I'm from Baltimore. I'm a native Baltimorean. I live in Sparks, Maryland, which is just up the hill from Ginny, and I'm a virtual assistant. My company is called Project Outsource, the name being from anything that you need help with, you can outsource to me. It doesn't have to be a full-time position. It can be just oh, I need help with this. I wish I could find someone to help me with this thing. And if I can do it, I will. I'd love to do it. Um, I've been doing it since 2008.
Wow.
Before that, I studied journalism in college at American University, and I tried a lot of things. I didn't know which path to take. I'm more of a creative, so it wasn't a linear path. Like if you wanted to be a doctor or a psychiatrist, so I had to try things. I painted children's furniture and designed children's room and children's bedding, and I worked for my dad's manufacturing company and administrative marketing. And this has been a perfect fit because I can go down the path with each person. So whatever they're interested in, I get to learn about. So I didn't have to choose one thing. I can kind of enjoy everybody's passions. And I
Yeah.
love doing it. And I'm Ginny's personal virtual assistant.
I was going to say, you're not just a virtual assistant, you're my virtual assistant. Yeah.
Yes,
Which is great. And
yes,
I probably take up at least 20% of your time each week, or maybe 40%. I'm not sure, but
yes. We are
yeah. And
definitely
the new thing that you took on last year in the summer for me, we'll say a few words
on
about
purpose.
that.
On Purpose Woman magazine. I was so excited. I knew that Catherine, who'd done such a great job with the magazine, I loved reading it, was ready to move on to the summit. And when you said, "Oh, I was wondering if you're interested," I'm like, "Yes, I would love to do it." And it's been so much fun, and it's so creative. I haven't been really doing anything creative since the years ago that I used to, have my company, Functional Art. So it's been really fun to put the design and behind everybody's words, and
Yeah.
uh, it's a little funkier, I think. This last issue, I said, "Oh, maybe I should be toning it down a little bit. The color, I'm kind of
No, I love that
whimsical
you're
in
bringing your
style."
personality into it. I like that a lot. Yeah. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
and we
anything
brought
I haven't agreed with yet, so you're good.
oh, good. Well, you're so nice to like let me go and be
Yeah.
creative. And then we added the music part, which I love because you and I are such music fans, and
Yeah.
your husband Don is such a music fan.
Yeah.
So we added a little music portion. That was fun. And just each time we do it, we add a little something new.
Yeah, yeah. So check out On Purpose Woman magazine. The link is in the text here to my website, opwgc.com, and click on Purpose Woman magazine. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it at the end of this interview because Ann and I have some requests for all of you. We're looking for talent, and we want to talk a little bit about that. So,
Right.
Ann, the article that you wrote is called My Super Women Squad. I'm going to start out by asking you, who are the members of your Super Women Squad?
I'm always taking on new members, but my core members are my wonderful, brilliant nieces. My niece Elizabeth, who's 35. She is a mom and a businesswoman. She runs an organization. She's really brilliant at what she does. And then I have twin nieces, and they are going to be, I can't believe I'm saying this, 29 this year. And they are both pursuing their master's degrees. One is in the medical field, and I wish I understood more what she's doing, but going into biology research, different, she's not even sure 100%, but or maybe she is, and I don't understand it. And then the other niece is a psychology major, and she's getting her master's in art therapy.
Wow. A
So
lot of
yeah, they're all,
creativity in your family, huh?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah.
Well, for this let's see. I guess my next question is, why did you feel called to write and to tell us about your Super Women Squad, and what makes them a Super Women Squad?
Well, I think it's something I always, we always go back to our childhood, how we became who we are. I know, with your group, it's all about stepping into the spotlight. And that's not something that I was really poised to do. I grew up in a family with mostly men, 5 men in my family, and my
Mm,
mom, who's very progressive, as you know, you've met my mom. But it's not just a gender thing. I have all older brothers. So it's also birth order.
yeah,
I'm at the
yeah.
bottom and I'm the girl. So it wasn't really encouraged, or nobody was hearing me growing up.
Mhm.
And so I learned not to talk. You do. And I became more into writing because I could take time and no one was trying to trip you up when you're writing.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's interesting because it's very generational, this learning not to step forward. And I was looking into, we were taught, our generation was taught children should be seen and not heard, right? I mean, didn't we hear that?
Yeah, we did.
And I looked into it and I was like, who even said that? Where did that come from? And some monk or not monk, clergyman from the 15th century, 500 years ago, and we're still
Really? I did not
perpetuating
know
it.
that. I did not know that. And it did
But I
say
think,
children because growing up, I thought it must have just said girls because boys never seemed to have to be sit down or settle down or anything. It was always girls who were told to be nice and polite and don't talk too loud and don't, you know, all that stuff. But boys got to just do their boy thing, at least from my perspective.
the quote does say girls. When I looked up the quote
Does it
about it, it
really?
was about girls to keep quiet.
Wow. That is
Yeah, but
crazy, isn't it?
I think that, so I really learned that. And in my house, my mother would turn to me and say, "I'm listening to you,"
Oh,
which would felt like a consolation because I couldn't get the rest of them to listen. So yeah, you do learn that, and you carry it through your whole life, and you don't even, sometimes you're not aware of it. But when my nieces showed up, and I think I talked about in the article, I didn't even know what it would be like to have women in the family.
mm,
You know, I had all these boys around me. So when they showed up, and they were just not afraid. The new generation, they're all millennials, and they've just, they're just so different. And it's interesting because I'm Generation X. I sort of straddle all of the generations, the boomer. I have my foot in one side and I have my foot in the millennial side. And I'm always listening to like what the two groups are saying. There's a lot of seems division sometimes.
mm,
Um, but I think it's just interesting that, we need to listen to each other more.
yeah. And take look at those young women and realize that they know a lot of things that we don't know, that there's a lot of wisdom there. We have to get out of our egos about being
That's
older and wiser and whatever that means, right? And
that's
actually
exactly
give
right.
younger women a chance. Something in
Yeah.
your article you talked about was you introduced your niece to a song when she was 11. Tell us about that. What happened?
Well, it's just a moment, but I
Yeah.
just remember her visiting because she was from out of, living out of state, and I just wanted to be so much, there with her as she was going through these different changes in her life. And I thought, gosh, she needs to know the song. That was how we bonded. We were really into music together, and we still are. All of my nieces are. And so, yeah, Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive. I said, I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but when you break up with your first partner, this is the song you play and dance, and it's music is healing, as we know.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that because that song isn't even your generation song. That's my generation song.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I love that so much.
Yeah.
And so you wrote that you've received a lot of gifts from your Super Women Squad. And I know you've given a lot of gifts to your Super Women Squad. So that's an example of a gift that you gave to your niece. It may sound cute and all, but you wrote that you were jumping on the bed together and singing to this song. But that's a memory that she has. That's a moment. That's an experience that I think is really valuable. What is another another gift that you think you've given to the, whether individually or collectively?
I think that, I'm a really good listener.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also because I'm an aunt and not a parent,
Yeah, yeah.
there's this, they trust me to listen to them. And, sometimes when your parents are so involved, there's such an involvement. So, yeah, I'm just there to listen to them. And
And they
they're
trust
just,
you to
and
keep their thoughts
they,
confidential. They trust that you're going to keep it there, and
right,
yeah,
right. But it's just interesting, people don't want to listen to younger people. We said children should be seen and not heard. I'm fascinated by kids. I love young kids and I love teenagers. They have so much to say and they're not corrupted yet.
yeah.
They're
Not
they're
jaded.
saying they
Yeah.
talk from their heart and they're really there to tell you some very interesting bits of wisdom.
Hmm.
And it's I just am hoping that like more people will. We have this thing now with the woke generation, and something I was thinking about after your summit this weekend, your On Purpose Women Global gathering. There's so many great speakers there, and what I really put together was there's a lot of healing going on from our generations, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of generational wounds. And it's interesting because my brother says not to blame, but to explain,
Mm.
which I don't know if I've ever heard anybody else say that, but not to blame the generation before, but we just keep, progressing and everybody's doing the best they can do. And my parents' generation, my father is a greatest generation, World War II,
Yeah.
and my mom is the silent generation, which what a name, right? Have you ever
It
heard
was
that? They're
after the
called this
greatest generation, right? That she's a little bit young.
1928. I think she's the very beginning of that generation,
Yeah.
1928. But the silent generation, I mean, what a name to be like, we don't want to hear from you. Keep everything quiet. We're not going to talk about anything,
Yeah.
right? And then our kind of generation after that has really been healing. We're healing from that. We're talking, we're speaking up more. And this next generation, they're like a generation of awareness. Like we're healing and healers, and they are raised by those people, right? Mostly raised by them.
Hmm.
So they're really in an awareness state, and people are saying woke and they're using it to disparage them, but really they're just saying, let's not do that anymore.
Yeah.
This thing that's not so great, maybe we're not going to do that anymore. And I think it's important to listen to them. And sometimes the older generation sounds like the people who didn't want to hear about the electric light. They said, oh, we want to keep our gas lamps,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
and
people,
it's scary to change.
I'm a little early in the baby boomer piece. There's some younger than me, but I'm a little closer to the younger than the older. But my entire generation, sometimes I'll see people post things on Facebook and I think, how old are they? Because they're
Right.
acting like, anybody who from the 60s and 70s who would be complaining about today's music, you know, it's like, wait a minute, weren't our parents saying that same thing to us? Or weren't they?
Exactly.
Each generation has had to up the bar for pissing their parents off,
Right.
for creating their own space for, it was hair back in the 60s with boys. It was hair, it was piercings a little bit. It was, hippie clothes and things like that. And
Right.
so each generation has to work a little harder. And so if we could look at them, just the ones who do that, who express themselves that way, it's just they're expressing themselves. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with them because they have
Right.
tattoos over 80% of their body. They're expressing themselves, right? But sometimes we can sound like real fuddy-duddies, I think.
It's hard to let go of what you know. It's
Yeah,
really hard.
yeah.
It's hard to change and it's hard to be open to new ideas.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess you have
But
to
it's
be,
really,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say it's really important to listen to what they're saying.
It
It's not
is.
coming out of nowhere. And it's often funny when you hear the parents of the generation say, "Oh, these kids, they're your kids. You did something here,
Yeah.
to make them more aware."
Mhm. Make something right.
Something
Something
right.
right. Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. And it's not that it's to blame. It's not to blame, but to explain. we're all doing the best we can with what we had, and we're progressing, and it's just little baby steps.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about, this growing up, how you grew up being silent. You were a silent generation all by yourself, right? But
Yes.
this, just not being heard because of probably all the masculine energy around, and it's louder, it's bolder. They were taking up a lot more space, probably.
Mhm.
And you mentioned that your nieces, they're in a very different space from that. So you've learned some stuff from them. And how has that
Yeah.
impacted you?
Well, it's interesting. I'm fascinated also with birth order, and my nieces are all firstborn women.
Mm,
So I've often fascinated when I meet people who are firstborn women, how they were able to thrive in a certain way. Um, I said to my friend who's a firstborn, I said, "Oh, you don't know what it's like to be sitting at the kitchen counter and have people poke you as they walk by. I'm still at 50 some years old jumping when someone walks by me."
oh dear.
But to be a firstborn, just a firstborn in general, they're typically high achievers. But when a woman is a firstborn, that's really, often they do have a higher achievement level. So all of my nieces, now, two of my nieces are twins, so they would fight over who's the firstborn. But generally, they don't have any older siblings to, you know, be like, you're not good enough. You can't keep up with me. And so, yeah, it's interesting to hear them. They're bold, they're bolder.
Yeah.
So that's why I say in the article, I'm sort of right behind them cheering because they're saying the things that I couldn't say. They're
Mm,
not afraid to say these things. And when I cringe, I'm like, oh my gosh. But I'm so happy they're saying it because these are like things that we need to say.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Oh, and you're
sometimes
so
it's,
proud of them. I can
yeah,
just tell you're so proud of them.
so proud. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're awesome. They're awesome. They're so fun. And I have three nephews, FYI. They're awesome too.
Well, I want to wrap up this piece talking about your
Mhm.
article by asking you to share the text between the four of you, I think it was, right? Or all four of you on the
Yes.
text,
Yeah.
that you actually
Right.
put the text in the article because I just thought that was so telling. I mean, it's just going
Yeah.
to kind of tie everything together that you've been talking about. You want to read that text to us and give the
Oh, sure.
context for it,
Well, this is back in, I'm looking at it, it's back in 2015. So
when
gosh,
they were like how old?
one was 25. She was a new mom, and the oldest was a new mom, and the other two were 19. So they were just
Wow.
in college.
Okay.
And I had been working for a client who was having a reunion, high school reunion.
Mhm.
So I was going through their yearbook. So I'll just read it to you from me speaking. I said to them in this text, I'm planning a 65th high school reunion for a client. While going over the yearbook, I found these quotes written by some of the women from the class of 1951. And they say, my business in the social system is to be agreeable. A sweet disposition is a wonderful quality for a woman. Obliging conduct gets deserved praise. Blonde and beautiful and liked by all. And those were just four of many, many.
Mhm.
I told them most of the women had similar quotes about remaining quiet and behaving demurely. So glad that all three of my nieces are powerful, fierce women. Go forth and conquer the world. And in the chain reply, my niece Kirsten said, thank you. I'm going to kick today's ass. And I told her, do it. And then my niece Elizabeth, oh, thanks. I needed this. Only 3 more days at home with my baby before I go back to kick work's ass. And I say, I know that's going to be tough, but I know you'll work it out. I love you. And she said, thanks. I love you too. And Maddie said, haha, I love this. I'm going to destroy genetics today. And I said, yes. So just
Yeah, yeah.
cheering each other on
That
and
is so great.
celebrating them.
Yeah, I just smiled through that whole article. It was just and
Thank
you're really an
you.
awesome writer. I know I've told you that, but you
Well,
really, you really do, you do good with words.
well, thank you.
You like that
It's funny
grammar,
because
right?
I wanted to be a writer when I was young, very young. I was like initially
Mm,
and studying journalism, but I never really had, pursued it. And then I haven't written anything in a long time. So your magazine was a great opportunity. This is the second article
hmm.
I've written
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
And I haven't written in years. And that was just such a great thank you for that opportunity to write for the
Well,
magazine.
I hope you'll do more. Hope you'll do more. So let's wrap this piece up by just give us a final thought about this whole thing around your Super Women Squad.
I think that I've said it, but we just need to listen. We have to be open to listening to each
Mhm.
other. Closing off, like being just closed off to new ideas, it's just not the way. You're never on the right side of things when you're closed off from listening. We need progress. The world is always going to progress, whether we like it or not. So we really need to listen to the younger people. So I really feel like it's their time.
Yeah.
And, we should be cheerleading them. We raised them, or even if you're not a parent as I am, but an aunt, we raised them. They're working on all the best things that we've been doing generationally, getting better from the survival generation to the healing generation and now the awareness generation. And so you should pat yourself on the back if you're a part of the people who raised these kids who are I say kids,
Yeah.
they're in their early 40s now, but that generation is in their early 40s. But
Mhm.
yeah, we just have to listen to each other and be open to change.
Very wise. Thank you. And let me just add that as we age, the more closed off we are to listening, the more closed off we are to progress, the older we are. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no, that we're just older. And, and that means I think if I have to, I mean, if I were to shut down, well, I'm not making any sense right now. What I'm trying to
No,
say
you are.
is
You
that,
are.
yeah, that I think it ages us. And I think we might
Hmm.
die younger, might die sooner because we're not living fully in the world. We've got
Right.
grievances or we're angry
Hmm.
at that generation for some reason, just all that stuff that builds up that I mean, it's time to pass the baton, let's do it with grace.
Well, I guess I should add here also my mother, you've met. She's going to be 96 this year.
Yeah.
She's also part of the Super Women's Squad because even though
Yeah.
she was born in 1928, very progressive, but always learning, always open. And that is why I think she has lived this long. We talked with Carla Johnston this weekend, spoke about dynamically aging.
Hmm.
And I thought of my mom immediately because she has never closed off to new ideas. Like she knows how to do the computer and she's always learning she's into AI now. She's into day trading and stocks and
Yeah.
she has cannabis stock and she has now AI stock. So she is like, and she's telling me about the metaverse I'm like, what is that? And she's telling me about it. So yeah, I think
And she's
there's so much to be
97. She's 97,
no, she'll be
98.
96. No, she'll be 96 in
Okay.
June. Yeah.
Well, that's not much difference, is it? But yeah, I see that I love having women like that ahead of me because it
Yeah,
reminds me of what's possible, right?
exactly.
And then the women
Exactly.
behind me are like, the legacy that we're leaving will, the good parts of the legacy that we're leaving will spur them on as well. And we can't forget all the women who paved the way for your nieces
Right.
to also have this freedom to be who they are,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Oh, brave women before me.
Yeah.
I hope that didn't come across that I wasn't appreciative of that
Oh no,
because
it
I am
didn't. It didn't.
appreciative of
Yeah.
that. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a lot of brave women along the way.
Well, I just love the article so much. So thank you. And again, I hope you'll write some more for us. But before we wrap up, we want to talk just a little bit about On Purpose Woman magazine. What do
Yes.
you want to say about it?
It's like you give so many people so many great opportunities, with being able to speak. It's not my thing, but
Mhm.
I had to say yes to you because of the article, I had to say yes. But the opportunity to write, I know there's so many people in your group, in your private Facebook group. There's like, I think 8,000 people in there. I know they have things to say, and I hope they'll step up and write for your magazine. It's a great place to be creative and to share your voice. And then also just the advertising part of it. You have such a focus group of people there for them. So, what a fantastic place to advertise. We talked about this a little yesterday. You had someone new come into the gathering,
Mhm.
an accountant. Her name is Jennifer Allen, right? She spoke, but she had been getting your emails for a while, but she didn't really know what it was all about. And then she looked into it, she got up and she spoke. she's exactly who I was looking for. I was looking for someone like an Emily Schul
Hmm.
as an accountant to help me. And I kept looking around the group for someone, and I thought, boy, these people should be advertising what they do. They should be members and talking about what they do, because we're looking for them,
Hmm.
whatever it is, right? Like a
Right.
real estate agent. Everybody, doesn't matter what your business focus is. You need a real estate agent at some point. You need an accountant, different people out there. So you have a folks group. You've curated this fantastic group for them to reach.
A great way for you to put it. Thank you. Yeah, and as far as the writing goes, I want anybody watching this to know that you don't actually have to write for the magazine. You can have something you've already written, like a blog or another article, as long as where it was published before, they're okay with you using it again, or we can do an attribution if they want us to. But if it's a fit for the magazine, I don't care if it's fresh for the magazine, as long as it's fresh.
Yeah,
So you
right.
can go to my website, opwgc.com, click on magazine, and then click on, you'll see something that says how to submit an article. It'll tell you what to do, how to get in touch with me, and we'll take it from there. We'd love to hear from you. And the same thing with advertising. You can advertise, if you're a paid member of the On Purpose Woman Global Community, you can advertise for as little as $40 an issue, and that is every other month. So for $240 for 6 issues, and if you pay up front, you save 10%, $24. So, it's a really, I want to say, I don't like to use the word affordable because I don't know what affordable means to everybody, but boy, it certainly is priced well for
I think
someone in
so.
business. And if you're not a paid member of the community, it would almost behoove you to join and get that discount, but it's not that much more if you're not a paid member of the community. So check it out, check out our rates, and we have our next issue will be May, June. And so I'd love to hear from you all. And Anne, anything else you want to say?
Just wanted to add about the Instagram. You let me take
Oh, yeah.
over a little bit of your Instagram, and I've been doing
Take
that
over,
for,
you mean actually
uh,
do it, because I wasn't doing anything with it at
I
all.
know, and you just let me run with it, which is so nice of you. And I would love more people to come over and visit your Instagram, On Purpose Woman Magazine. Um, I have so much fun with it. And I think I'm the only one in on this joke, but if you follow the Instagram stories that I do, I weave in a lot of music, because as we said, we're both music lovers. So I
Mhm.
weave in a lot of fun music, and I even give people their theme songs. And I don't think anybody's picked up on that yet, but like Emily Schul is, the OJ's Money, that
Oh,
song
yeah.
Money,
Money,
for Love
money,
Money.
money,
That's her
money.
thing.
Yeah.
I kind of picture them walking down the red carpet getting their award, and what song would be playing. So
I
I
love it.
have
I
like
love it. Yeah.
Sophia Nitzsche is like Unwritten, that song Unwritten, and uh Gail Dixon is Heart to Heart. Kenny Loggins. Everybody has their theme songs. So if you go over and listen to the stories, maybe you'll pick up on my little. I'm cracking myself up.
I so appreciate you and how you just run with things. I love it so much. So Anne, thank you so
Thank you.
much for doing this. I wasn't sure that because you didn't have to do this. Not all the writers sign up to be chatted with about their article, but I was so glad when you said yes, because I know you have things to say and I love to hear them. So thank you so much for being here and doing this.
Oh, thank you, Jenny, my friend.
And I want to thank you for watching the Real Women, Real Purpose talk show. For more information on the On Purpose Woman Global Community and magazine, please click on the links in this video and be sure to check out just everything that Anne is talking about, especially our Instagram page, which is On Purpose Woman Magazine.
Magazine.
And for more interviews with amazing women living their lives on purpose, check out our YouTube channel. It's also in the text of this video. Thanks again for watching.